Today we're gonna talk about some tools to make your writing, your essays, and even your speech a lot more interesting. Today we're gonna be talking about anaphoric and cataphoric reference. Have you ever heard this? Do you have some sort of idea of what this means or what we're maybe going to talk about? I am not sure if you've heard about these references before, but this is a nice way to put a little bit more into your writing and even into your speeches, okay? We're going to watch a short video with a little bit of an explanation so you can understand better what we're talking about.
What is anaphora? Anaphora is the repetition of a word or sequence of words at the beginning of clauses. Think about it this way. It is the repetition of a word or sequence of words at the beginning of each sentence or phrase. For example, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair.
Okay, have this example here. It's a full text. So I want you to take a couple of minutes and try to think what is an anaphora references in this text. We already know that an anaphoric reference is a repetition of a word in a clause. So what do you think is that anaphoric reference in this text? Okay? Do you have any ideas? Let's see which ones are they.
The repetitive phrase or sequence of words is it was the. You can see it here colored blue for convenience. It's repeated at the beginning of every phrase, this sequence of words. Another example. I have been one acquainted with the night. I have walked out in rain and back in rain. I have outwalked the furthest city light. I have looked down the saddest city lane. I have passed by the watchman on his beat and dropped my eyes, unwilling to explain.
Again, we have another example. I want you to take a couple of seconds to think and try to find the anaphoric reference. Do you have any idea? Let's see.
In this case, this is set out as a poem, and it makes it much easier to recognize the anaphora because it is at the beginning of every line. And that repeated sequence of words is I have, and you can see it there. Now, the process for identifying anaphora has several steps. First, you look for a repetitive word or set of words. Then you have to make sure it is at the beginning of the clause, or at the beginning of the sentence, or for ease, right after a comma. Because if a word repeats, or a set of words repeats, it does not automatically mean it's anaphora. There are several other forms of repetition. Anaphora is the repetition at the beginning of the clause, which is the beginning of a sentence, or right after a comma. And after you've done that, pick out each instance that word or set of words is repeated in the same exact way over and over again. And then you have identified the anaphora. What are the functions of anaphora? Why do writers and people who give speeches use this?
Here you're going to see why it's so important to use them on your writing and on your speeches because it gives them that extra touch to your work. Okay, so let's see the functions of this anaphoric reference.
Number one, it creates an emotional appeal. You keep hearing the same words, and especially if you're trying to move somebody to action and keep using the same words that are trying to get people to move to action, that creates emotional appeal. But it also strengthens arguments. If you are arguing about some type of conclusion, and you keep repeating the conclusion and every time you're giving different evidence, it makes the argument much more powerful. It delivers it straight to home with the listener or the reader. So you can see that it has quite a variety of functions, from artistic to very intentional, logical argumentation. It also creates a rhythm to help in remembering. So it's also used quite a bit in poetry, because the repetitive part of it, and as you saw in the poem, helps the reader remember. It also emphasizes some points. So in the poem, if you go back here, it's talking about the experiences of the speaker. They have done this and they have done that, and they have done this also and that, and so on. The person is experienced, and Frost here is delivering that point to home.
So we know that anaphora is a word or a set of words that repeats themselves in a clause. When we use them on a speech, on a text, on a paragraph, we need to keep in mind that the anaphoric basically are words that refer to other things in that text, okay? For example, Michael went to the bank. He was annoyed because it was closed. So he refers to Michael and it refers to the bank, okay? So we need to understand also that the anaphoric references are words used in the text to refer to an idea, a previous idea, okay? We have another one here. He sat down at the table and took a small box from his pocket. The object fell heavy in his hand. Inside, it was the key to his future. Okay? Anaphoric reference often makes use of definitive article the, because one of the functions of the definitive article is to indicate that something has already been mentioned. Okay? That's the example. He sat down at the table and took a small box from his pocket. The object fell heavy in his hands. Inside, it was the key to his future, okay? Here, both the object and it refer back to a small box in the first sentence. We're going to talk also about the cataphoric references. The cataphoric references occurs when a word or phrase refers to something mentioned later in the discourse. I mean, the anaphoric refers to a previous knowledge, and the cataphoric makes mention of something that is going to occur later in the paragraph, okay? With the cataphoric references, we create expectation, and with the anaphoric references, we create an emotional appealing of remembering, okay? That's the difference between anaphoric and cataphoric references, okay? The cataphoric reference goes for the expectation, the anaphoric reference go for the appealing of remembering, okay? Let's see the example of the cataphoric reference. Although I phone her every week, my mother still complains that I don't keep in touch often enough. Her, in this sentence, refers to the mother. The book was there on the table. I've never read Moby Dick, and it didn't intend to do so. Here, the book refers to Moby Dick. The anaphora and the cataphora references are two common forms of style that appear to reduce repetition and focus emphasis on specific ideas. Using anaphoric and cataphoric references helps you reduce the repetition of unnecessary words and gives more focus to certain ideas that you want to highlight in your essays, in your paragraphs, or in your speech. Okay, I'm going to leave you an exercise here. You're going to find the following text. Well, actually, here are sentences. They're scrambled. So you need to unscramble these sentences to create a text that has coherence. And then you're going to highlight the words that you believe are anaphoric or cataphoric references, okay? Once you're done, you're going to submit it to the Google Classroom. Don't worry, I'm going to put this as homework so you can upload it. You can do it on a Word file. Remember to put your name and last name so I can find out which one of you did the work, okay? Besides the exercise that I'm going to leave you in the slides, I'm going to leave you another exercise to practice your anaphoric and cataphoric references, okay? In this word file, you will find 2 paragraphs, and then you have a table where you have to put the anaphoric references and the cataphoric references, okay? You're going to check out the words that you have in black and decide whether are they anaphoric or cataphoric, okay? Again, you're going to submit it to the Google Classroom with your name and last name, please. If you have any questions, any doubt, or just want to chat, remember that you can contact me through the Hangouts application or via email, or even leaving a private comment on the Google Classroom, and I'll be more than glad to answer you. See you later, kids. Have a nice day.